We, as many of you know, that when the dust settled off this hurricane, you saw the Sanibel Causeway severed in 3 different locations. We, of course, were flying in search and rescue immediately after the storm passed, and that was the #1 priority in those original days, and rightfully so. But we also understood that there was going to be a lot of need for services because we needed to make sure we could rebuild these islands, including Sanibel. We had folks come to me, I guess over a week ago now, asking about the Pine Island Bridge. Is there something could be done? A lot of people said you just can't do it. People need to leave the island. That was not acceptable for those residents, and so we worked with FDOT. We said Florida would take it on, and we were able to produce a temporary bridge in 3 days, and so they've had access now for almost a week on Pine Island. Sanibel, as you can see, a little bit more complicated because you have it's a bigger it's a big causeway, 3 different locations. And so what we did was last week had air assets bring in electrical workers, utility workers, people that could help with a lot of the infrastructure damage that was done. As well, last week we started deploying barges to Sanibel Island with equipment and supplies for power restoration. We also wanted to ensure wraparound services like running water are available as quickly as possible. And at the end of the day, we're in a situation where even though we're working really hard on this causeway, we didn't want to wait until that was somehow completed before you even started on the other stuff. So we had to figure out a way to get people there. So they have been there and they've been working, and we're really proud that people have done it. But as good as that is, you can only helicopter or barge so many people and so much equipment. So we were looking at ways, how can we get more trucks on the island of Sanibel as soon as possible? Kevin Guthrie and I had talked with the feds about potentially bringing in almost like an amphibious landing craft that would bring, like it could bring tanks in the military. And then we said, okay, well, we will do that if we can load up all these trucks. However, as we were working on those arrangements, and we actually would have had that here probably when? Today or yet? Tomorrow? Yeah, so this week we would have had that. But I'm actually very happy to be able to report that's not going to be necessary because any minute now, right behind us, the temporary Sanibel Causeway repairs that have already been undertaken will allow this massive convoy that you see out there, 200 bucket trucks, 150 line and pickup trucks towing 50 trailers, 2 tractor trailers, other first responders. They are actually going to be able to cross Sanibel Causeway and drive onto the island today. And this includes Lee County Electrical Cooperative, FPL, Duke, other partners. They brought in other folks from the municipal and the co-ops that are here helping massive numbers of people. I mean, I said over a week ago, we wanted Lee County to have more linemen anywhere, and you've seen that. I mean, if you're driving in here, massive convoy. So the convoy is going to get there. They're going to be working to restore the power situation. It will require some of this to be rebuilt. I mean, for those of you who've been out on that island, you see concrete poles, utility poles snapped in half. And that's actually a pretty common sight to see. So it is going to require a lot of manpower. It's going to require a lot of effort, but it's something that will be done. So that will end up really moving this forward from where we otherwise would have been. Because if you think about it, if we didn't do the causeway, or if we had let the causeway linger and then didn't send anyone on the island, then nothing would have happened up to this point. And so we're happy to have done that. Now, once the convoy goes across, they have to continue with some of the repairs. It is not going to be ready to have full-time civilian traffic. And so we said that this was something that would be done by the end of October. And I'm actually able to report now that 21? 21st. That this will be open for civilian use October 21st. So that's going to be an amazing thing to have. And we're happy to be able to do that. So,
there they go.
Are they going?
There
There you go, guys, right behind us, ahead of schedule. It was supposed to be 3 o'clock today. They thought they'd get it. Now they got more, and it's going. And that's going to be a bit. Now, you notice you got to go pretty slow because this is a temporary patch, but we're happy that that's something that is being done. We also are happy, of course, we did do the Pine Island Bridge, so that allowed a lot of electrical. You have LCEC, Duke Energy that are on Pine Island. You know, there's some significant damage to the infrastructure there. I saw a lot of lines down, utility poles broken. So they're working. They believe that this week you will have at least 1/4 of the island restored, including the island center, water treatment plant substation, and then grocery stores like Publix and Winn-Dixie, and they'll talk more about that shortly. Next week, you're going to have the northern part as well as Matlacha, so that'll be really, really good. So bottom line is there's major progress being done because that bridge, it's allowed us to get the people across that need to get across. And there's a lot of folks, I mean, Pine Island people are very resilient. They're running their generators, they were doing all that like right at the beginning. But it sure is better to be hooked up to the grid. So that's what's being worked on, and it's really been, I think, a great effort. I mean, I think I can report now, and one of these, they're all going to come up and speak who are running these electrical outfits. But I think statewide now, other than the barrier islands, I think you basically have 1,000 people that are without power in the entire state of Florida. And so that's a pretty significant undertaking. There will be some homes that may not be able to receive power, will require an electrician to come out and make sure things, because there was a lot of damage with the flooding and other things, and that's just the nature of it. But now we're in a situation where you're really looking at those barrier islands, and we've got probably more resources than have ever been put to bear on any one of those things. So I just want to thank everybody that's been involved in that. I also want to thank the First Lady of Florida for doing the Florida Disaster Fund, over $41 million that we've raised for that. And if you want to go, you can go to floridadisasterfund.org, floridadisasterfund.org, or text disaster 20222 if you want to make a contribution. And we've got more people that are going to contribute. Other charitable groups want to get involved, so you're going to see more, and I think it's going to make a difference. But how some of that money's going, I was just in Charlotte County yesterday. You know, they have a group that what they do is they bring massive amounts of tools to areas of disaster, and they loan them out to different groups that are going to help. So you'll have some group that's going to go to your house and they're going to remove debris. They need a chainsaw. They can just get the chainsaw from this group and do. So that's a group that's gotten support. We're also working, and hopefully have an announcement today about helping some of our first responders that were displaced by this. So there's a whole host of good that can be done with it, and we're really, really happy that that's the case.